This is like my third attempt trying to make this video. Life has been pretty busy with school and work, and I just have been kind of away from recording videos and making content in general. My photography has been slow and my voice acting is practically non-existent now. But I did rewatch my Ellie Noire video, and it gave me a shot of motivation to finally make a video about a game that made a huge impact on my childhood. And even though I've had this video on my mind for a while now, I'm still not exactly sure how I want to tackle it. I don't want to sound like I'm just reading off the wiki, but I also want to give a good glimpse of the story of the game. So I'm going to try my best to not sound like I ChatGPT this. Jet Set Radio Future is one of the few things I can remember that brings such a deep sense of nostalgia and has even influenced my taste for art and music today. My sisters and I would play this game on our OG Xbox. Tagger's Tag, City Rush, Flag Battles, and Death Ball were all game modes we would play into the late hours of the night. It's a game that I still emulate to this day, legally of course. I used to have like 5 copies of this game, but those disappeared a while back. I remember the game came with Sega GT 2002. I'm not sure if Jet Set Radio Future even came in its own box, but every copy I had also had Sega GT 2002, which was also a pretty good game. Jet Set Radio Future is the sequel to Jet Set Radio, or Jet Grind Radio, depending on where you're from. I played Jet Set Radio, and while it also has great art style and music, I kinda just gravitated more towards Jet Set Radio Future. Now, it was most likely due to the fact that we didn't have a Dreamcast, but an Xbox when I was growing up. And while it is still a good game, I've maybe beaten Jet Set Radio once or twice, but I've beaten Jet Set Radio Future maybe 6 to 7 times. But it is still a good game, so if you haven't, I recommend playing it. It's on Steam, and it's a fun time. Actually, just checking in, Jet Set Radio isn't available on Steam anymore, because I guess on December 6, 2024, they removed all games. So I'm not telling you to pirate, I'm not telling you to steal, I'm telling you to emulate both of these amazing games. Jet Set Radio Future has been left in the shadows pretty much from the moment the game released. The developer Smilebit, who worked on the game, were disbanded and brought into Sega as a whole. The game is hardly even mentioned in Sega's catalog. There's only been a handful of times the game has been mentioned. Beat, who is the unofficial mascot of the game, has been seen in Sega All-Star Racing and All-Star Racing Transformed. I've never played either, but I've just seen videos. The game was also available to play on the Xbox 360 with backwards compatibility, but for the most part, Jet Set Radio Future has been silent. Now, this hasn't stopped fans from making their own spin-offs. Jet Set Radio Future Multiplayer was a fairly popular game after the release of Jet Set Radio Future. While the game is no longer supported or updated, there are still videos of the game on YouTube that were uploaded fairly recently. Another Jet Set Radio Future-like game I am very fond of is Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. For many, this was the spiritual successor of Jet Set Radio Future. It brought the better graffiti gameplay of Jet Set Radio and added the movement and tricks of Jet Set Radio Future while polishing both features. If you haven't played it, I really do recommend you check it out. Now, there has been a recent mention that Sega is working on a sequel to Jet Set Radio Future. There was a trailer released in their Power Surge video, but there's been very little mentioned on the game ever since, and that was about a year ago. A part of me is super excited for a new entry into the series, but with the current environment in gaming with microtransactions, bugs, and while this is probably just nostalgia bias, I really do worry that they are going to ruin the image of this game, but I'm really hoping I'm wrong. I want to talk about this game in the best way possible. Like I said earlier, I don't want to feel like I'm just reciting the wiki. I want to speak on how this game formed me into the person I am today, what art I like and what music I listen to. It's been a very big part of my life that I still enjoy, and I still search for whenever I'm at a game store, and I'm just glad I'm finally making this video. I already told you my life story, so let's get into this hopefully finished video, and hopefully it gets released eventually. But Thank you for watching. Jet Set Radio Future takes place in a fictional Tokyo called Tokyo-to, where an oppressive government is planning on taking over Tokyo-to via mind control. The Rikaku group is protected by the Rikaku police, droid-like policemen who don't take kindly to your attempt to spread art, and their leader Hayashi, who wants the GGs dead. No, but like actually he's crazy. He has like tanks and these electric barriers and these spider drones that shoot bombs everywhere just to get some kids who are spray painting. You play as one of the GGs, a group of magnetic inline skaters who only have 2 MOs. Take down the Rikaku group's oppressive government and spread graffiti all across the city. Graffiti is a huge component of this game, and it had a huge impact on how I see art. I'm a horrible artist, and was a horrible graffiti artist, allegedly. But I still absolutely love seeing graffiti in my city and in media. I think graffiti for many is simply wanting to fuck with someone else's stuff, which in its own right is pretty cool. But I feel that graffiti is also one of the easiest resources for spreading ideas and messages. Graffiti has been used throughout history. Some even consider cave paintings and hieroglyphics a form of prehistoric graffiti. Graffiti as we know it was started in the early 70s in New York and Philly, where people would tag buildings and trains. Graffiti was looked down upon by the general public, with many correlating graffiti with gang activity. But many artists saw it as a way to fight government oppression and to feel seen. Whether you like graffiti or not, every time you look at a tag, throw up, or piece, you're doing exactly what the artist wanted you to do. Look. Graffiti has been used for political movements throughout history. Whether you like him or not, Banksy has been a huge component of the mass acceptance of graffiti. Many of his pieces contain imagery critiquing police, politicians, and general public atrocities. There's really no limit to what you can display with graffiti. Climate change, social justice, and violence are all examples of ideas that many explore with the graffiti pieces. And the best part is, you don't have to have a political message to do graffiti. Some people just want their name on someone's expensive building. Both sides are awesome, because fuck rich people. I really do love graffiti, and God, I wish I were good at it. My hand style is pretty bad, and I was never able to properly form a coherent tag, but I sure as hell had fun when I allegedly did it in GTA. Now to relate this to the game, you are part of a group called the GGs, who want to spread graffiti all throughout Tokyo-to, as an attempt to disturb the Rikaku government and hopefully bring some needed change to Tokyo-to. This dynamic with graffiti and political oppression is what I think brought me into graffiti, especially as I got older and started shifting my own beliefs against political oppression. I think this game had a lot to do with that, and for that I'm grateful.
Fly like a butterfly. Fly like a butterfly. Fly.
Yes, hello. I was wondering if you could play that song again.
Which one, man?
The one that goes...
No, man, you're thinking of...
Nine a winner. Pay the front line, take the don'ts.
And now while graffiti is a huge component of this game, it also has some of the best music out of any game I've ever played. There's this visceral feeling of nostalgia in my stomach whenever I hear the soundtrack. Many songs have different producers, but the most iconic one is Hideki Naganuma, a Japanese producer and DJ born in, I'm gonna butcher this, Otaru, Hokkaido, Japan. His first work with Sega was actually for voice editing and not music. He didn't start producing music for Sega until the year 2000, where he was responsible for the music for Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio was his breakthrough into music production. The game's music had received high praise from players, and this success is what led him to produce music for Jet Set Radio Future in 2002. He's responsible for many other Sega soundtracks, such as Sonic, Persona, and Super Monkey Ball. His most recent work was for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, where he was able to give his classic spin on the game's soundtrack. Now, I don't think Bomb Rush Cyberpunk's music is as good as Jet Set Radio Future's, but it's still top notch, and you can clearly hear that he's still producing the same style of music. His music just fits so well in the environment of Jet Set Radio Future. I even find myself doing tricks to the beat of the music. Constant upbeat tracks is what kept me glued to the game. I have some favorites that are still on my playlist, being Aisle 10 by Scapegoat and Rock It On by Hideki Naganuma. I find myself listening to this song when I'm walking through the city, because it gives such an energetic vibe to whatever you're doing. It almost sounds like I'm Neo walking through the Matrix. It's very good and you should check both of them out. My current taste in music has been mainly rock music. Alice in Chains, Pantera, Tool, and bands like that. But I'm also very fond of house music. And while I wouldn't consider most of the music in Jet Set Radio Future to be house, I do feel that the rhythm and beats I was introduced to when I played as a kid shaped me into liking rhythmic music as an adult.
Like this, like that, like this, like that.
Fly like a butterfly. Fly like a butterfly.
It's really amazing how a game soundtrack can have such an emotional effect on your emotions years later. Whenever I hear music from this game, I can instantly remember playing this game with my sisters and asking them for help because I was stuck in Sky Dinosaurian Square. It's one of those things that I imagine many game music producers don't think of when they're making music, but their music can contain so many memories that can sometimes make me yearn to live them one more time. Hideki Naganuma is also just kind of a funny guy. His tweets are usually super funny and sometimes kind of weird, but I feel like that is what adds the charm to him. I want to thank Hideki Naganuma for making music that holds so many memories from my childhood. Memories of my sisters, my OG Xbox, and early school mornings when I would play the game before I had to get ready. I want to thank Sega for shaping my interest in art and planting the seed of anti-establishment ideas into my head. If you haven't played this game, I really can't recommend it enough. And if you can find a way to play Jet Set Radio, I also recommend you play that too. I want to thank you guys for watching this kind of all over the place video. I really have been wanting to make this for months now. I have 2 copies that I edited and everything and I just never posted because it felt like to me that I was just reading off the wiki and it just didn't feel right to post something like that because there's plenty of videos on the internet about this game and I didn't want to add to it and I wanted to kind of relate it to me and my love for house music, the game's music, and just graffiti and political stuff in general. Again, I want to thank Hideki Naganuma, the funky uncle, for making music that holds so many memories to me and memories that I look very fondly upon. But again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you're from my Ready or Not video, which is my most popular video, if you stuck around, thank you. If you didn't, well, you won't see this, but if you liked the video, let me know. If you didn't, you can also let me know too. But thank you very much. I hopefully will have something released, maybe not, over a year, but I'll start working on something soon. I'm thinking about maybe like a movie dive in about Inglourious Bastards, because that's my favorite movie, and I've been kind of sitting on that for a while. But anyway, final thank you. Yeah. If you are interested in learning more about Jet Set Radio Future, there is a documentary by K as They that talks about the production, the models, the music, the gameplay of Jet Set Radio Future. It's a fantastic documentary. It's not insanely long, so it's definitely a good, watching one whole kind of thing. But very good, and you should definitely check that out if you're interested.